forest of Virelin was not just ancient, it was sentient. It pulsed with the breath of old magic, carried through roots and rivers, whispered in the rustle of enchanted leaves. Trees here grew taller than spires, their bark etched with glowing sigils from an age when stars walked the earth. Moonlight filtered through the silvery canopy, falling in soft beams that danced across moss-laden stones. The air shimmered faintly, alive with residual spells, protection charms, and the laughter of spirits unseen. Fairies were its guardians, fragile to the eye, but bound with nature's most enduring magic. Among them was Liora, a healer of the fifth circle, whose wings resembled delicate lace spun from morning fog and wildflower light. She wore robes woven from spider silk and rain petals, and her voice carried the calming warmth of lullabies forgotten by time. On this dusk-lit evening, Liora soared above the crystal stream river, her path guided by motes of light, tiny luminescent orbs that followed only those pure of heart. She was searching for dewdrop lilies, a rare bloom that only opened its glassy petals when kissed by twilight. A young fawn had fallen ill near the hollow glen, and Liora, ever dutiful, had left the safety of her grove to tend to it. But something was wrong. The wind, a trusted companion of the Fae, carried not music or scent, but a whisper, a cold, insistent breath. Liora. Her wings stilled mid-beat. She hovered, eyes scanning the tree line. The silver glow around her dimmed, and then she saw it, high above the treetops, where the twilight sky blushed with fading gold. There yawned a rift, a jagged, vertical gash across the heavens. It was as if the world itself had been torn open by invisible claws. From within oozed a shadow unlike any natural dark, thick, pulsing, almost alive. It spilled across the sky like ink in water, corrupting the twilight with tendrils of despair. Leora's heart thundered. She turned to flee, wings drawing power from panic. But she was not fast enough. A tendril of shadow coiled from the rift, snaking through the air with unnatural grace. It struck like a whip, sharp, silent, searing. It wrapped around her mid-flight and latched onto her wings. Pain exploded through her body. Not the pain of flesh, but something deeper, like her magic itself was unraveling. She screamed, then she fell. Her small form crashed through the high brush and thorns, snapping branches with sickening cracks before landing hard on the mossy floor. Her body lay still. The forest held its breath. When Liora awoke, it was night, not the calm night of fairylands, but a heavy, unnatural stillness. The moon, usually full and bright, was obscured behind clouds that did not move. Crickets did not sing. The leaves did not whisper. She tried to sit up. Pain lanced through her back. Her wings... She gasped. Where once there had been translucent lavender shimmer, now there was ruin. One wing was bent at an unnatural angle, its edges frayed like burned parchment. The other was splintered down the center, veins of magic flickering faintly, already being devoured by black vines of dark energy. Tears welled in her eyes. Her wings were not just limbs. They were her soul made manifest. Without them, she was no longer whole. Then, footsteps, soft at first, crunching dried leaves. She froze. From the trees emerged a figure, not tall by human standards, but immense in presence. He wore a tattered cloak black as void, lined with faintly glowing runes. His boots crunched with each step. His face, half covered by a hood, was lined with sorrow and shadow. But his eyes burned faint red, as if lit from within by dying embers. He knelt beside her. "I did not expect the rift to reach you," he said. His voice was smooth but distant, like wind passing through a long-forgotten cave. "I'm sorry." Leora's hand curled into the moss. "Who are you?" He hesitated. "I am Kaelen, once a seeker of truth, now perhaps a destroyer of it. Liora felt the darkness in him, but also something else: grief, wounds that bled not blood, but regrets. Kaelen gently examined her wings. This magic, it doesn't just damage, it feeds. You were caught in the backlash of my spell. The rift was not meant to open here. She wanted to strike him, to curse him, but her body trembled with pain and powerlessness. Instead, she whispered, "You did this." "I did," he admitted, looking away. "But I can undo it. If you let me." Kaelen carried her, gingerly as one carries a glass sculpture, through the woods to a temple of old stone, swallowed by vines and lost history. It was a place where gods once listened, where the boundary between realms was thin. The inside was cool, shadowed, and humming with ancient power. Dust motes floated like sleeping stars. In its center stood a cracked obsidian mirror ringed by forgotten glyphs. Liora lay beside it, her breath shallow. "I can mend your wings," Kaelen said again, kneeling before her. "But only by grafting shadow magic into the weave. You will not be the same. You may never be welcomed again." "What will I be?" she asked. "Something new, something in between." She looked into the mirror. Her reflection stared back, tired, broken, but burning with something fierce. She thought of the grove, the fawn, the innocent lives lost to the creeping dark. She could not help them like this, but perhaps she could protect them as something else. "I accept." Kaelen began the rite. He drew circles of ash, salt, and thorn petals. He lit black candles with no flames. He spoke a language that hurt the ears but stirred the soul. And when he placed his hand upon her chest, a deep warmth surged through her, followed by agony. Her wings twisted, cracked, then began to regrow, black veins intertwined with violet light, pulsing in rhythm with her heartbeat. When it ended, Liora lay gasping. Her wings were no longer fairy wings, but neither were they demonic. They were twilight wings, wrought from balance, born of ruin, shaped by choice. Liora could feel again, not just magic, but truth. She returned to Virelin to find chaos. The rift had widened, creatures twisted by dark magic roamed. Her kin, the Fae, hid or fled. The heart tree, core of their power, wept black sap. When she entered the sacred glade, the fairies stared in silence. Some gasped, others backed away. "She's tainted." "She walks with shadow," but she stepped forward. "No," she said, her voice ringing clear. "I walk against it. I chose to take its pain so you would not have to." She raised her hands, and from them a light bloomed, not gold or silver, but a warm violet dusk, streaked with shadows like ink on parchment. It soothed, it understood, it healed. And when the rift flared in a final eruption, spewing monsters of void, Liora flew alone into the sky, her twilight wings beating once, twice, and cast a spell of weaving light and darkness so perfect, the rift closed with a whisper, not a roar. The land sighed. The forest, though scarred, began to sing once more. Liora never returned to the fairy courts. Her place was elsewhere now, in wild glens and edge realms where balance teetered and magic bled. She became a legend whispered across ages. The fairies call her the Broken Flame, a symbol of sacrifice, rebirth, and defiant hope. And in every broken winged moth that dares to fly in shadow, her story lives on.